know if this day would ever come at some point. I mean, many, many years ago. I want to welcome everyone today to the InSpirit Center for Spiritual Living. And we're here to do a couple of things. One is to honor this amazing project called the Shower of Stoles. The other is to send a message of inclusivity and welcome to the beautiful souls that bear the gift of having an aspect of themselves that includes the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning community. It is truly a gift to be part of this community, and I'm honored to stand up here as a member of that community. Before we get started, we're going to have an opening prayer, and Reverend James Peak is here from the Center for Spiritual Living. It's Namaste in Long Beach to offer our prayer. Reverend James.
I'd invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so. You certainly do not need to. We just take a breath to center into this time and place in this moment. And I recognize that beyond the symbols, beyond any ideas of definitions of people, places, or things, there's one life. There's one divine love that flows in and through and as each of us. And we awaken right now to that truth. We know that that love we call God or Spirit or many other names is present here in the room. That it uplifts us. It opens the door to the infinite possibilities that life has to give us. And by the very nature of who we are, I know our time together is blessed. So we simply declare it so. And so it is. Amen.
So before I forget it any further, my name is Reverend Bobby Becker. This is one of those projects, and I'm sure many of you know, it's a labor of love. And with it comes responsibility and accountability. And with it comes this idea that is greater than yourself. And I can so appreciate that because it's been a long time getting here. Before we get started, I wanted to acknowledge some of the folks that are here in this room that have done amazing work in the community, in outreach to the LGBTQ community in the work of interfaith. And I think this is a blessed call and an honored work. First of all, Reverend Nancy Brink, Director of Church Relations, Chapman University. If you could just stand so people would know you, thank you. The Reverend Dr. Mike Holland, Church of the Foothills. Reverend Dana Kincaid, First Christian Church of Orange. Reverend Mark Anthony Lord, founder of Global Pride Summit and founder of Bodhi Center in Chicago. The Reverend Carol Lotz from Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living. The Reverend James Peak, Senior Minister at Namaste, Center for Spiritual Living, Long Beach. Listening and going to participate by Skype is Reverend Deborah Peavy. She's from the Welcoming Resources of the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force. She's also, there she is. She's also the Faith Director of Why Marriage Matters in Arizona. We have the Reverend Wendy Tyan who's Interfaith and Celebrate the Sacred. She's also here at InSpirit. Joyce Swaving from Shanti and St. George's. From here at InSpirit, we have Senior Minister Reverend Sandy Moore. And in the back doing a fabulous job is Reverend Kirk Moore, co-minister here at InSpirit. some of the organizations that are participating today. First of all, I want to honor Men Alive, the Bel Canto group. You guys are amazing. Bob Gunn, who is the director today. Is he in the room, Bob? Thank you, Bob, the creative director. Brian Gaeta Simons, who is from the Orange County Gay and Lesbian Center. He's part of the interfaith, the queer interfaith group there. Brian? Executive Director Sarah Kasman from Shanti, Orange County. And Paul Wick, who is also from Men Alive. Paul? And for those of you that I missed, I apologize now. Today is a wonderfully exciting day. It's a collective love offering, if you will. And it's part of our community here in Orange County. The LGBTQ community truly deserves a loving invitation to come home. My own story is not recent, but it's sure continuing. On July 29th, 1994, I received a letter from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Following my disciplinary hearing held earlier, that I had been excommunicated and that my name was to be removed from the records of the church. In the letter, I was told that my actions and behavior as a lesbian were in contradiction with the plan of God, and therefore all blessings and ordinances as a member of the church were to be removed. My choice to continue my life as a lesbian had eternal consequences in that faith. I was to remove my sacred garments that I had been given in temple rituals and no longer wear them. And in order to return, I must repent of my conduct, which was the cause of this action. I attended my excommunication hearing. I attended not to defend myself. I attended because I know that I am a child of God and that no one has the right to take that away from me. And that this was something bigger than anyone on earth, who I am and what I was created to be. The day of the hearing, there were words I shared with the panel of judges that were in front of me from the very founder of the Mormon faith that still ring true to me today. Joseph Smith said, while one portion of the human race is judging and condemning the other without mercy, the great parent of the universe looks upon the whole of the human family with a fatherly care and a paternal regard. He is a wise lawgiver and will judge all men not according to the narrow, contracted notions of men, but according to the deeds done in the body, whether they be good or evil. We all come to know and stand in our own truth of who we are and what we were meant to be and what we are meant to do. It is within each one of us. Today marks one of those moments of knowing. And I stand here with such gratitude, surrounded by the love and the support of a spiritual community of my own, as well as the amazing and beautiful leaders, both here and those that have come before us. It is a truly remarkable and blessed journey to come out. It is one that is full of challenge. It takes courage. And it is one of self-love. To be exiled from one's faith community, directly or indirectly, has been the path of many within the LGBTQ community. And once that happens, it's truly difficult to have the courage to walk into another. We make the difference as spiritual leaders and community leaders to bridge the hesitation to walk from one faith that may not have served us into one that does. So today, the theme of our reception is to invite our LGBTQ brothers and sisters who haven't walked into another house of God to come home. This is the message of today's event. Thank you. Ron Sarna will now introduce the Bel Canto group.
Welcome. Very emotional day all the way through. It's going to continue with this amazing group of men that I've had the pleasure of knowing for quite a few years now and have prayed to get them here in our center, we all know. Mr. Bob Gunn is the most amazing artistic director. He's going to bring the guys up, and here they are, Bel Canto.
There's a calm surrender to the rush of day, when the heat of the rolling wind can be turned away. An enchanted moment, and it sees me through. It's enough for this restless warrior just to be with you. And can you feel the love tonight? It is where we are. It's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer that we got this far. And can you feel the love tonight? How it's laid to rest. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds believe the very best. There's a time for everyone if they only learn that the twisting kaleidoscope moves us all in turn. There's a rhyme and reason to the wild outdoors, when the heart of this star-crossed voyager beats in time with yours. And can you feel the love tonight? It is where we are. It's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer that we got this far. And can you feel the love tonight? How it's laid to rest. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds believe the very best. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds believe the very best. Believe the very best. Can you feel the love tonight?
Amazing. Amazing. Let's give her. You know, my story's not unique. There are many stories out there like that. And there are many stories of great courage in this beautiful community. And there are so many leaders who've done so much, and many of them are here. And I want to say that what you've done already signifies such an amazing act of love. It really brings to mind how important it is to have that spiritual path develop, a place to develop it, a place to recognize and know that God is love first. And sometimes out there the message is quite different. So I'm very grateful to know that even in my own life here at our center at InSpirit, there is that message, and it's really wonderful to have that in our lives. For my wife and I and my child, and as a minister to be able to serve, and to serve openly, and to serve with courage, and to be able to serve and know that all I bring is also welcome. The creation of this event was a conversation, and one of those conversations was with an amazing woman who I have come to admire deeply, and that is Reverend Deborah Peavy. She's amazing, and the work she's done, I'm in awe. She's from the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, Welcoming Resources. She's passionate about making a difference. She's the faith director for Why Marriage Matters, as well as the lead ecumenical trainer for Building an Inclusive Church program of the Institute of Welcoming Resources at the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force. She came up with these programs in her living room way back when. She came out at a time when coming out and serving as a minister was unlikely, and she did so anyway. She has 30 years of experience working for the inclusion of LGBT persons as full participants in the life and leadership of the church. And today she's going to open up the conversation and talk about the shower of stoles and what she's doing. Reverend Deborah.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Reverend Becker. Forgive me. I know there are many people in that room that I know and have worked with over the years, and it's just, I have a history with First Christian Church of Orange, so it's really a pleasure to be so close to you, even though I bring you greetings from Surprise, Arizona, which is a place, not surprising that I'm in Arizona. And Reverend Becker has invited me to talk to you about the shower of stoles, which I can see you're surrounded by. And before I do that, I just want to say that I bring you greetings from 200 of us who were just in Salt Lake City last week at the National LGBTQ Task Force Faith and Family Power Summit to be taught in the ways of organizing, to hear the truth about some of the exportation of homophobia that's happening all around the world. And right now, following our being in Salt Lake City, the World Congress of Families is meeting, and they are a consortium of the most anti-LGBT and reproductive health folks on the whole planet. So we got together, 200 of us last week, to be prepared to respond to this World Congress of Families. So I want to lift that up and invite you all to be especially in prayer this week, because there's going to be a lot of anti-LGBT hatred being promoted heavily for the next week in Salt Lake City. And we did our best to, quote unquote, queer it. But we were 200 mighty souls, and they're going to have about 3,000 mighty souls. So be in prayer for all of us, won't you? And we also had stoles from the Shower of Stoles. And I want to tell you, this is one of the ministries of the National LGBTQ Task Force. We have collected over 1,000 stoles that represent the lives and loves and opportunity lost of LGBT people of faith. And these people have served in 32 denominations and faith traditions. They come from 6 different countries and 3 different continents. The word about this Shower of Stoles project has spread widely around the world, and where we feel like it's a sacred archive that we hold together. And the stoles represent ministers, deacons, elders, teachers, missionaries, musicians, administrators, and active laity whose voice has been silenced for being LGBTQ in the life of a particular congregation or denomination. So what you all see is a small part of the depth and breadth of people of faith who happen to be LGBT, who have been excluded. Over 3/4 of the Shower of Stoles that come from faith leaders who serve as clergy in their denominations are put in anonymously, because over the years the people, to even let their name be known, was a threat to their future in the church. And people have felt called by God to serve. So the Shower of Stoles, as you see them, bear witness to the enormous pool of talent that has been lost to the church. So I'd like to just take a moment for all of us to hold together that truth. So many voices have been silenced. Let us be in silence together, holding that truth. Thank you. And I know that part of why you all are here gathered together today is because, like Reverend Becker, you want to break the silence about this and make a more supportive and hospitable environment for LGBTQ folks within Orange County and beyond in Southern California as a whole. And I just want to say one quick thing, which is that we don't accept stoles from straight allies, although we do have several signature stoles that have over 3,000 signatures on them from straight allies who stand with us in solidarity. So we don't stand alone, and our project is to help no one feel like they have to stand alone. And I look forward to meeting some of you. I'm going to come to Southern California at some point to do a Building an Inclusive Church, and I hope many of you will come. And I also want to invite you to the signature event. If you're interested in LGBT liberation and speaking our names into being and our bodies into being received healthfully and hopefully, I invite you to join me in January in Chicago, which is a big place to go from Arizona in January, because this is the best place to be in January. But anyway, we're going to Chicago January 20 through 24th for the annual event called Creating Change. And if you want to learn the grassroots approach to both creating change and sustaining that change, please come to Creating Change. I'd love to meet you there as well. Thank you so much.
good to see you, Reverend Deborah. There are many here, of course, that know her and her work and have worked with her. She's been around quite a long time. At this time, I'd like to welcome up Senior Minister here, Reverend Sandy Moore, who's going to introduce a few speakers that we have here today.
Thank you all for being here. Reverend Bobby asked me if I just share the vision of our InSpirit community before we welcome our speakers up today. And our vision here at InSpirit is creating a world that works for everyone, which does not mean a world without pain or difficulty or challenges. It means a world of love for me. And so when Reverend Bobby said, what we feel here is love, it's love that we know, the love that heals. The love that doesn't care about where the love goes, what the object of love is. It cares when it's absent, when we don't feel that love. That's when problems start. And this group here is courageous enough to stand in that truth, that it's love that heals this planet, and it's time we're courageous enough to be open and welcoming. We fear what we don't know. And so we have made a stand together here at InSpirit to build communication, to create groups that we can talk and share and learn, and important, listen. One of the greatest joys in my life is my beautiful daughter, Deanna. And Deanna and her partner, Brooke, are two of the most amazing women I know. They do good work in the world. And they share love and light, and they build bridges, and they make sure that we're moving towards the light. So Deanna, I want to thank you for who you are and what you do. And tell Brooke, I'm sorry she couldn't be here, but tell her thank you too. We were blessed this morning to have Reverend Mark Anthony Lord speak at our center, and literally, he took the roof off. Is it still there? I think so. I think it is, but barely. It's just there by a thread. He's an amazing man with so much courage. And he is here because he is making change in this world. And he's an author, an inspirational speaker. He founded the Bodhi Spiritual Center 11 years ago. Amazing community. And he's off doing amazing things for the LGBT community. So we have asked him to share a few words now, and he's still giving it his all. So here you go. Thank you, Reverend Mark Anthony.
Hello, everyone. I just want Reverend Sandy's shoes. Thank you, Reverend Bobby, for making this happen, and all of you who put your heart and souls into it. And hello, Sarah from Shanti. Oh my gosh, I'm just getting acquainted to Orange County through Reverend Bobby and through Sarah, who just like, oh my gosh, the best person to be introduced to what's happening here. I'm currently live in LA, and those of you who know, they're very different worlds. But what a beautiful world you have here. I'm a gay man, and I'll bypass the history and just say that today I love who I am. I love being a gay man, and I know that God loves me this way and wouldn't have me any other way, and there's not a cell in my body that thinks differently, and the whole world could scream that I'm wrong, and I would just have nothing that resonates with that. Now that comes from years and years and years of prayer and transformation. And so I just want to share with you something that I am creating and just ask for your blessings on it. It's called the Global Pride Summit, and it's an online program. And we specifically created this. It's a free online program that we imagined LGBTQ people all over the world connecting virtually. And it's basically like a conference. We did our first one just in June of this year, June 1 through 5, and we had 30 plus LGBT and ally inspirational leaders, teachers, counselors, celebrities, and activists that came on pre-recorded interviews sharing their stories, sharing their vision for where we're going. And the specific focus for this work is around helping LGBT people do the inner healing, to heal ourselves from our own internalized homophobia. Because what I know is that if we still entertain shame, if we still feel badly about ourselves, then no matter how much love's coming at us, we will sabotage it. That's what we all do when we don't get rid of the blocks and the pain. So the focus is to raise the self-esteem, to raise the self-love and the acceptance. And our first one was such a beautiful expression of this, and it reached all over the world. It was so fun to see people who were tuning in and participating, and to receive the emails of gratitude for what was being done. And I just can't explain. Like, we have a lot in California. I know there's much to be done here. I know that. But to receive an email from someone sitting in the middle of Kansas with nobody around them and sending a letter saying that they feel connected for the first time just by attending the summit, that's the vision and the purpose of what we're about. Our second one, which is coming up, we don't have the date yet. We're working on funding for this, but the focus is on healthy relationships and lasting love. With the same-sex marriage now being legal in our country, I was talking to my husband, and in my prayers I said, we gay people have no clue how to do marriage. And, no offense, but the straight people are just doing the best they can too. So our next one is really focused on long-term relationships, interviewing couples to share their stories. What are their practices? How did they stay together? So that we can bring forward into the world role models and examples of what it means to be married, because it's just a brand new world for us, and there are special things needed for two men together or two women together in the same-sex equation. It's just that there are special differences, not wrong differences, but things that need to be talked about and explored together. So we're real excited about the next one, and we imagine these summits growing and expanding. We hold the vision for an LGBTQ youth summit where they can share their stories and they can hear from experts and leaders and just connect. And we do have a lot here. We have a lot of work to do here in America, but there are parts of the world where it's a lot of pain, and people are being killed and imprisoned and living lives their whole life just to stay alive. So my prayer is that as we become healthier and healthier, we don't rest on the good that we have. We deserve a pause. We deserve a good breath. I agree with that, but that we continue, like our LGBTQ brothers and sisters in other parts of this world need us, and they're waiting for us, and they depend upon us to keep doing our work so that we can spread the good all around. So that's what we're about, and I'm just deeply honored to come and speak about that, and I deeply honor you for being here. Please make this a yearly event where this room gets more and more and more full. I just hold the vision where there are 2,000 to 3,000 people coming to Orange County to have a whole weekend experience of love and celebration and inclusion and healing for the many abuses that religions have done to us. We can forgive, and we can set them and us free. So thank you so much.
Isn't he amazing? Just really a leader in healing and building bridges and making connections. Thank you. And the next speaker we have is really an amazing woman that I just met today. And she has served for 30 years as a parish pastor, 20 of those as a senior pastor at the North Side Christian Church in Omaha, Nebraska. She now serves as the director of church relations at Chapman University. And Chapman University is on the cutting edge of really bringing faiths and religions together in an ecumenical way and really healing differences, again, making a space and place to listen and care and connect. I'm going to invite her up, but I just want to say a one-line quote that I read from her that I think goes, we can carry it even further to the LGBTQ community. Not only are we ecumenical, believing that you don't have to practice and be like us to be in God's great circle, we're increasingly interfaith. And may we just add to that, that's by Reverend Nancy Brink. And we're increasingly in love with each other. Reverend Nancy.
I met Deb Peavy in a hotel room in 1987. Does that sound good? There were 20 other women in there with me. And I was listening to Deb. Is she still there? Okay. I was listening to Deb and her partner talk about her coming out in Seattle. She was the first lesbian in my denomination, the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, who did that and retained her job. And I had just come out to myself that year and was leaving a marriage with a man and was falling in love with a woman. And finding out what those love songs, like Can You Feel the Love Tonight, really is all about. It took me 7 years from that night in that hotel room until I was ready to say, I am out to the world. I've read a book somewhere, and I can't even tell you the name of it, but some gay psychologist way back in the Stone Age wrote about it. It takes about 7 years for us to reintegrate our identities in a positive and powerful way. And I'm so grateful that I've made that journey. And I'm so grateful to be in the Christian Church Disciples of Christ that was on that same journey along with me. The Shower of Stoles means a great deal to me. My wife and I, Maria's here. She is a lay person, so she's one of the few lay people that they allowed to put the stole in. But she, in the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, gave her ministry before coming out to the Hispanic Convention and was the chair of that. And when she was outed, all of her support dried up. And yet we still try to keep going back and making inroads within our tradition in that community because there are so many of us that are living in the closet. It's been really fun to work at Chapman University. We were founded by my denomination and now have a partnership relationship, special partner relationship with the United Church of Christ and for our 100 students from our two denominations. A year or two ago, we decided that we should become a recognized, open and affirming ministry at Chapman of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ and the United Church of Christ. So I went to my student leaders and I said, let's declare ourselves. Let's do the study. And they said, huh? I said, yeah, we need to do this work and study the scripture and learn about this. And they went, huh? And what I realized as we went around the room is they came from churches that had done the work. And they thought they were already there. What I bring testimony to is we've got this war won. They just have to grow up and get into positions of leadership. Most of the students on the college where I work, I mean, people tell me, you know, Chapman's really conservative, and I go, really? Have you been to Chapman lately? Yeah, some of our trustees are conservative, and that's all right. They build us great buildings, don't they? I just found a Chapman alum who does sing like an angel. So it's really, really important for us to continue to raise up these young people. But that doesn't mean there's not heartbroken stories like yours, Bobby. Not at all. And all of us need, whatever faith community we're a part of, to create a place of openness, of sanctuary, of dignity, and of laughter. I think we forget sometimes the laughter and how powerful that is. But laughter conveys a sense of homeness with your spirit. And that is what God wants for all of us. It's an honor to be here. Our stoles are not here, but there's one other stole from my family I want to just tell you about very briefly. There is a stole from my 90-year-old ordained gay father as well. And he did not come out until his retirement. He had a few people who protected him, and I'm thankful for that. But I got this great picture 2 weeks ago today from a friend in Indiana. They were having part of the shower of stoles at her church, and she turned over a stole and looked at Reverend Eugene Brink, and she took a picture of it and texted it to me. We're really proud that this shower of stoles can help open hearts and minds. It's really been particularly important to our Presbyterian and Methodist colleagues that have been so working to get change within their denominations. Blessings to you all. Thank you.
Oh, Reverend Nancy, thank you for everything you do and all you share. And we're blessed now. And I just want to thank Ron Sarno for working with these beautiful bel canto choir here to come, because it is the angels that are here to share the beauty and the goodness with us. So will you come back up here again, please? Good.
We found heaven.
We did. Right here at InSpirit. Let's give our love one more time to Bel Canto and the beautiful souls that just share so deeply with who they are in their true colors.
In talking with so many from the LGBTQ community, we know there's more work to do. We know that there is a collective and loving invitation that has to continue to be made so that people feel and know that they can walk into those spiritual homes and that we're there to love and honor the path that they're on. There's a loss and void in our communities if there's anyone that feels that they're not welcome, because there's a missing gift there that each person brings. So today, I have an invitation. We have an invitation. We want to create and form an ecumenical council that also includes community leaders, to create that strong message and invitation to our LGBTQ brothers and sisters to come home. At some point, many of us left, but that doesn't mean it has to stay that way. What that means is that we create that visible message that brings love and acceptance and honoring, not just tolerance, but a deeper, loving invitation. So with all the open doors that are already here in Orange County, and there's this perception in Orange County that we are conservative, isn't it there? And so it takes a lot of courage to walk into those doors unless we know for sure that we can walk in and be loved. So what we'd like to do is to create that council, to create that very visible message, that very visible invitation. So today, as we've collected names and emails and phone numbers, the intention is not just to have an event like this to say, this is great, because believe me, these stoles bring tears to my eyes. It is a perfect example of this. And let me just say this from Martha Gillirat, who said, I gave up my ministry only to discover the greatest ministry I could ever hope to have. And that is to bring the love into our community that we so desperately need. The healing, as Mark Anthony talked about. And the fact that there is joy and that we can have laughter. And that we bring a greater understanding of what it means to be LGBTQ. So today is an invitation. And actually, I'm just going to ask my wife if she will bring up that pretty little gift sitting right next to her. This is my wife, Janine. Thank you. So today, because part of the stoles, which many have already donated, I am donating my stole. It's with a new message. And that message is this. As a minister in a faith that is open and inclusive, Centers for Spiritual Living, to which I belong and am a minister, I dedicate this stole for those that keep the faith and hold on to the courage that home awaits. The world is indeed changing. So I'm honored to be able to do this here. And This is the stole of my faith.
And for Reverend Bobby, I'd just like to say that beautiful, I don't think there's a person here that doesn't have the God bumps right now, Bobby, but that stole there is coming home to a loving God who has never taken a blessing away, never taken a gift away. And that's a symbol for all of us to remember.
Just wanted to thank some volunteers. First of all, I want to thank all the ministers who said, I'll be there, and if I can't be there, put my name on the list. Thank you. Because what you do means so much to our community. Please. Oh.
Stand up.
Stand up, please.
Stand up. Wow. Woo! Excellent. Beautiful. Courage right there. Beautiful.
Thank you for coming. We spoke, and it was wonderful to speak to you. I actually had a conversation with Reverend Frank Schaefer from the Methodist Church. And for those of you who know, he sends his love. He performed a marriage of his gay son in 2013 and lost his ordination in doing so. But this year he was reinstated, and he actually holds a pulpit. So he was in Camarillo today. He sends his love. Those kinds of people, besides Reverend Dr. Paul, are amazing, and we love you for what you do. So thank you. So here at InSpirit, we have a group called One Spirit, which is actually the LGBTQH group. The H being that we want to be inclusive and integrated, that we're moving our center from just having a side dish of the LGBTQ to having it integrated, and that's our vision here. So the folks from One Spirit, and these are founding folks, is Lori Midsatar. Sorry, Lori, I'm a little nervous today. If you could stand. Scott Cohen, Bill Haskett, and Ron Sarno. These folks did a lot to get this event, to make it happen today. Anjanita Worth handled our photography. Thank you, Anjanita. Carol Priestley did refreshment setup and display, so thank you, Carol. Some members here at InSpirit, Joy Butler, Nicole, say your last name for me, Nicole, Benazzi, Emily Van Cleve, and a host of others that did some amazing work. Daniel Jackson handled video, so if you want a video of the event, we have that as well. Our board president, Jeff Kuba, who did amazing. We had food donated from Koana Loa Restaurant, Yolanda of Yolanda's Cafe, so please enjoy a meal before you leave. Tammy from the Little Kitchen, we thank you all for participating today. It's truly been an act of love, and we're honored to be able to host the Shower of Stoles at InSpirit. And thank you again for participating. So before you leave today, if I could just make sure to get all your names of the folks that would like to participate in this amazing opportunity to really get that message out to our community. Again, thank you for coming, and if I could just have Reverend Kincaid come up and do our closing prayer.
May we join our hearts together. Spirit of compassion, spirit of healing, spirit of love, spirit of life, bind us together and strengthen our resolve to proclaim a message of full inclusion and belovedness for all of your children. Amen.
Take the hand of the person next to you. And if no one's there, just know that there's somebody here that's just waiting to be loved even more. And I want us to know and give great thanks to Reverend Bobby Becker for her consciousness, her deep commitment, her courage, and her love to bring us all together, to bring us closer to building that bridge of oneness, compassion, and love. So as we hold our hands together, I just invite us to imagine we're holding our hands and arms and love around this entire planet, around the whole world, and together we are making the difference. And we have the courage to step up and say, yes, we're open, we're welcome, we're affirming, and we love you right here, right now, and always.
So please stay and enjoy some food and take a look at the stalls and enjoy. Thank you so much.